welcome to Real Life and Archetypes. My name is Marina. So we're going to continue with the interview of Christian Craighead on the Shawn Ryan Show, and now we'll just jump right into the next video. So let's watch together.
In 2019, when I launched a one-man hostage rescue mission, life had prepared me for that moment, and it's a thought I have, and it's sometimes eaten me up a lot. Is for life to prepare me for that day, I had to be different. Everything in life had prepared me for that moment. The mindset, the skill set, everything was odd. Everything lined up for that. But then there's the thought of, in order to be that person for that day, maybe I'm like a tool, like a specialist tool that it's really good for this job, and you might use it once, and then after that, it's useless.
Now, the first part of what he's saying, when he's talking about how life had prepared me for that moment, what he's talking about is that when he thinks about it, he can see how all the pieces fit together. And this is a great thing that happens when you're looking, you're somebody who's looking for meaning. This is the seeker, the explorer archetype. You're trying to understand the meaning of your own existence or the meaning of things. You interpret things. So what he's doing is that he is putting all the pieces together of his life, and it makes sense to him. It prepared him for that moment. So he's putting a lot of importance and weight on what happened in 2019, because of course that has been a huge event. That was a huge event in his life. That's when he did something really extraordinary. And I guess, it must have changed his life in many ways, because he also, afterwards, he lost his anonymity. He became known after what happened in Kenya. But to have this interpretation where suddenly everything fits, you look at your life and it's like the perfect orchestration of things, that's a great place to be. And this is, the way that he does it, we're going to see later on, what happened that day and the way that he interprets what happened that day. It's very... I want to say very subjective, because it's really related to spirituality. And this is where I explain it as something highly subjective. It's really the way that we're going to feel our experience in a very subjective way. And this is just for ourselves. It's not for anybody else. The way that we feel a connection to the spirit. And here it's also connected to the way that he's going to interpret his life, therefore find meaning and connect with this sense of, this is what I'm here for. But he's put the whole weight of the meaning of everything that happened to him. And you can feel that there's a huge burden in terms of what happened to him in the past, in his childhood. Not surprising with everything that he's told us already about what he suffered in terms of being bullied and things like that. I mean, this is, quite an extraordinary experience. So there's a lot going on in all of this. So it's very important. It's huge. It's massive. And now it's over. This part of his life is over. And now he's thinking, well, what if I was just made for that and now it's done? So this is language of crisis, of transition from one life to another. This is something that, again, because of who he is, and you can tell, in special operators, again, I always repeat the same thing. These people are so special and unique, and they live life so fully. They have such an incredible life that, of course, everything is experienced exponentially compared to the rest of us. So when they start to think and they look at things, and especially these people are very intelligent. They're not, an idiot. They really work their intelligence because of the work that they're in. They're very quick, they're very fast. So they use their mind. And because of the experiences that they have that are so intense, they're going to look for a meaning and they're going to go through a lot of crisis. So again, these are prototypes of human beings which are very unique and are very interesting to listen to because they have a lot to tell us about what life is. So this guy is telling us, what if that was it? What if that is it? So from the point of view of archetypes, the transitional crisis that we go through, this is a period of, it's almost like a limbo, no man's land moment of crisis where it feels that the old life is done. And in particular, for someone like him, that old life was quite intense, quite fully lived. You felt alive. So the crisis is going to be even more intense. In other people who have not responding to the hero's call to adventure, that kind of crisis will be of, I haven't done. There's a statistics about people who are in their deathbed and the regret that they express the most is what they didn't do. So for someone like him, that's not exactly it. He's done, and he's done like very intense things. So he does have the feeling that he's experienced something incredible. So now what? How are you going to feel that again now that you come from, this line of work and going into the normal world? So this is where this is going.
Sometimes I think, can I fit in with normal society? And I'm not a crackpot, as you know. You've met me personally, and I've met your family, and but I just think, am I suitable for normal life?
So no, he's not suitable for normal life. And what is interesting, remember that this guy, I think this is what I love so much about this interview. He really goes into the personal aspect of his life, and of course childhood and all of that. That's what is personal, and he's rooted there. And look at what he just said. This is a problem now. Can I fit in normal life? And you've met me and your family. Look at what he's saying. I'm not a crackpot. You've met me. So why don't I fit in? It's not like I'm crazy, like I'm some weirdo. And this is very interesting to hear him use that language. It's important to him. And that's why in this interview, and we're going to see, the reaction of Shawn Ryan trying to say, why do you want to fit in? Well, it's important to him. And it's especially important for people who have some issues in terms of their roots. Because when you're not rooted, you don't have, a family background that gives you a sense of security. You're going to transfer that also into the need to integrate into society. These are two archetypes that are linked. That's the Cancer, Capricorn, the family, and the older self. And think about how we can see in some statistics that, for example, immigrants, they have a high rate of achievement because to achieve means to integrate into society. And because they come from being uprooted, they have to create new roots in a new country. That's a new family. That's a new home. Country is family. And in a new human system, in order to belong and to have that security, that you're going to feel secure and, integrate into that world, you're going to need to accomplish within the structure of that society. And that's the older self archetype, the Capricorn archetype. To achieve at a high level, the whole point is security. It's all about security, because you're going to be able to belong to a human system, and that side of the human system in society. This is where there is structure. So if you go higher, you're going to belong there, you're going to have a function, and it takes a long time to get there. The older self, what part of you is going to take a long time to get where it needs to go, and do you identify with that identity? That's a whole other thing. But this is what is so interesting here, because he has these two archetypes, very, very important. So the fact that, well, we're going to listen to Shawn Ryan now in a second, that Shawn Ryan is always telling him, why do you want to fit in? Why? Well, we all want to fit in. Now, what matters is how much you're going to prioritize that over other things. But the need to fit in, to belong, and to integrate is a human need, because this is how we survive amongst other people. So the whole point is, how much space is that going to take? So let's just continue.
I think trying to live my life and fit in. And then sometimes I'm like, yeah.
Who do you want to fit in with?
Well, I don't know. I just like get on in life. And it's like what I'm chasing. It's this thing like everything costs something.
What an interesting thing to say. Everything costs something. It's like chasing. So chasing, that's language of the hero, of the warrior. Everything costs something. Trying to fit in. He's not formulating everything that he wants to say here. And I think that's because Shawn Ryan is sort of pushing here. Shawn Ryan keeps on insisting, why do you want to fit in? Why do you pay attention to what people say? Well, all of us pay attention to those things. Now, to what extent is what matters, but it's actually something that we all need. Again, like I've said before, we all need to fit in, to belong. So to some extent, of course, we're going to pay attention to who others are, what is going on, and how the world responds to us. But now this guy, what he's talking about is this transition from extraordinary to ordinary life. So what's interesting is that in the hero's journey, there's this... if I could find the hero's journey here, do I have that? Basic structure of the hero's journey. So when you begin in the hero's world, you begin in the ordinary world. And then the whole point of, the hero's journey is that you go through life, you respond to the adventure of life to really discover what your potential is, what your identity is going to become. And then the return, just look at that. When you return, you begin again, and you're in the ordinary world. So think about how what he's talking about relates to that. It's another circle of life. He's gone through, all of these things. Now he's returning, and now what? It feels like you're in no man's land. And by the way, in the ordinary world, there is a refusal of the call. I haven't put all of the phases of the hero's journey here, just like a basic structure. But there is a concept that has to do with refusal of the call and the wasteland, what Joseph Campbell calls the wasteland. And he talks about the wasteland as, living a life that is not authentic. This is where most people live. They don't respond to the hero's call to adventure, to really become the person that you're supposed to be, which means that you're going to be more responsive to what the world is demanding of you. Now, a hero, a soldier, a warrior, and special operator, again, I always, they stand out. They are unique. It's not, he talks about being different, but these people it's more than being different. It's being really extraordinary and unique. So to fit in the ordinary world is going to be something very difficult because you're so unique. So really the answer is that you're the one that's going to need to take the lead about what kind of life and what kind of world you want to be. And you're the one that's going to have to bring things into the ordinary world. it's not going to be there for you. That's what happens from the perspective of the hero. For all of us, that's true. But for someone like that, it's going to be even more true. You're not, the ordinary world is not going to have by itself what you seek. You're going to have to bring that. Okay. So that's basically the answer. Let's just continue here because I don't know where we are.
And I didn't wake up and became Chris Craighead. It was a long, hard slog to January 2019, and it cost me everything. It cost me family. It cost me relationships. It cost me my soul in some cases.
So look, he's talking about I didn't become. So becoming, that's the hero archetype. It's all about becoming. So I didn't become Christian Craighead, in one day. It's a long road. That's the older self talking. It takes a long time. And the older self, it's the Capricorn archetype. It's all about achieving a state of being that is high, that has accomplished, or because you're older, I spoke about how being an older self can also come from the natural state of things, such as his grandmother. She was older and she was a person of reference, of example, of authority to him. He talks about other things about his grandmother. His grandmother is an image of an older self. It really is. And so that's got imprinted in him, that to be that kind of person is really important. That's what he's attached to emotionally. And so when he says, I didn't become Christian Craighead, it wasn't easy. It's not in one day. It takes a long time. And remember what he's talking about. What now? So everything costs something. So it's like, if I have to start again, is it going to take a super long time? Is that what he's wondering? I don't know. But he's mixing all of those things. He's not formulating things very clearly. It's like it's a stream of consciousness almost, what he's talking about. Because he has confusion, right? He's wondering, okay? What is going to happen now? What now? What is after that? After everything that I have accomplished? And it's cost me everything: family, relationships, and my soul in some cases. Well, you can imagine that in that line of work, there's a lot going on there that makes you wonder those things. I'm not going to go into that because I would be, speculating too much. But you can imagine what it could refer to. This is, the sacrifice of these people. And they were made for that. This guy was made to do what he did. Doesn't mean that it's not painful at times and that you don't feel that sense of sacrifice, of, a sense of normalcy that maybe you long for sometimes. Probably for 5 minutes, because I would bet my right arm that he longs for. I really relate to that. He longs for normalcy, probably according to what he's saying, but he wouldn't last 5 minutes in normal world. He needs something challenging. He needs to be inspired. He needs to do something. So what he needs to do is to bring something to the world. And I think that the issue is also that he wanted to publish a book. He wrote a book, One Man In, and he's never been able to publish because it's been blocked by authorities in the UK. So authority. And look how important authority is for him. He's completely personally attached to that archetype. And so it took a long time for him to achieve what he's achieved, to become who he is. So now what? I start again. Is that going to take a long time again? I think that's basically what he's talking about here.
So it's coming, and that's one of the things that we may be getting ahead of ourselves, but about trying to find purpose in life. And right now I've got some things coming in, but I still in my mind think I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. So part of me sometimes think, are my rounds complete? Have I done what I'm supposed to be put on this earth for? And now I'm just waiting to die.
So that's really the crisis of transition here. Is that all? Is that all there is? So I have accomplished, I have a sense that, my life has had meaning. Everything makes sense because look at what happened to me, what I have suffered as a child, everything that's happened. It has meaning until 2019 and what happened that day. But now that he's out of special forces and he's in the ordinary world and he's sort of in the wasteland that Joseph Campbell talked about, where what is going on here? I'm not super hyped or motivated by something. Am I going to find a sense of purpose again? Well, part of the crisis of transition is that you have to leave your old life behind. There's something that you always have to let go of because those are experiences that you will never have again. And this is natural. I mean, we're never going to experience being 5 years old when we become 6 years old. So that's the way to think about it. That's completely natural. Something new is going to emerge. But that period in between, that limbo, it really feels like nothing exciting is happening. Yeah, he's got things lined up. He's doing stuff. He has that book. Let me see if I can find it. So look in the image on the right, he has a book that's called The Wrong Wolf. I have to get my hand on that book, by the way. The Wrong Wolf. So he has written a book, from what he said, which cannot be published and probably will never be published. They'll never allow him to publish, which is really a shame. But anyway, that's how it is. The thing is, that wasteland, that space from one thing to another, especially, it's amazing how it doesn't matter what you do, there's always a crisis, right? But he's had such an amazing experience in his previous life. How the hell are you going to replicate that? And this is the thing about transitioning. This is the thing about going from one life to another, is that you have to accept that you have to let go of something for something new to show up, okay? And I don't know where he is now because this interview is a few months old. I don't know what his life is. But at that moment, that was a few months ago, he seems to be expressing that he's like in this no man's land. This is not, he's not like super motivated by life in the way that he has before. But what happened before is that it took a long time to fully see like there's something that was happening. He achieved something, and he saw the meaning of everything. And now it's like he doesn't see it. It feels like yeah. So that's actually natural. The way that these archetypes work is that, yeah, you sort of have to accept that, all of that is behind you is gone. So something else is going to be born and grow, and that's going to drive you forward I don't know if in the same way as being us in special forces and that kind of level of adrenaline, but someone like that, I mean, we can't imagine, normal people, we can't imagine what these guys, the level of energy they have. It's just, I mean, I can only try to imagine. But yeah, the crisis that they feel, the sense that, they want something, they want to be super motivated. What they do, the hero archetype, there's something, you're looking for something that is going to motivate you. One of them is a cause, is to look for a cause, something to fight for. And he talks, we'll see in other videos, he talks about, fighting for what is right and protecting and things like that. These are the things that motivate someone like him and others like him. These people are just something special. So that's why they don't fit in. I mean, just their capacity to do what they do in the normal world with the rest of us, they're like, okay, what do I do? So they seek for a cause. and a sense of urgency and fighting. They're going to want to replicate where they came from in terms of their lines of work into the ordinary world. That's why all of them, they're trying to, teach others, for example, to either become warriors or ordinary citizens who are able to defend themselves. But this guy is looking for something. He's very creative. He wrote The Wrong Wolf, the book, and he does creative stuff. So there's something that is going to need to emerge. But before that, there's this wasteland where nothing happens. So anyway, I'm going to leave it here for this video, just one video again. I'll do the rest another day. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and help this channel grow, and I will see you the next time.